Hi guys, it's me again, Jero D, Community Engagement Manager for the National Ambulance Service. I'm here at Cork City Fire Station to bring you on a virtual tour with 5th generation firefighter Kevin Higgins. We're going to have a look in particular at their cardiac response unit and have a look around one of their firefighting appliances.
Hi, my name is Kevin Higgins. I'm here in Cork City Fire Brigade in Angus Street in the centre of Cork City, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the fire station for the CFR Respond Conference. This is our senior officer's Jeep, the Tango 1. This responds to all incidents where 3 pumps or more are responding. So the senior officer will travel in this unit here. This is our specialist rescue unit, which we send to every road traffic collision, river rescue and hazardous material incident. It has a winch at the front that can take 5 tons and a 10-ton winch at the back. We also have our HIAB, which we can use to remove people from the water, remove cars at a road traffic collision, etc. There's no firefighting capability at all. It's all rescue equipment, highline rescue equipment, and specialist chemical rescue. This is our Echo 1. This is our high reach appliance. It's an aerial ladder platform made by Bronto Skylift. It can get up to 32 meters height. We can use this for firefighting or to rescue people from windows if there's a tall building involved in fire. If you move down this way, these are the workhorse of our fleet, our alpha appliances or our pumps. These respond to every appliance. So at the moment, due to COVID restrictions, we're also sending a Jeep. So we, instead of a crew of 6 on the pump, we have 4 on the pump and 2 on this Jeep, which we call a follow-on Jeep. Over this way, we have our spare appliances, our spare platform, and our spare rescue tender. And then here is what we call our cardiac unit, which responds to every cardiac arrest that we get here in Cork City, of which we get about 214 a year. In the back we have our response bag, which contains everything we need, our AED, our oxygen, our BVMs. We also have assorted tools and stuff to make entry into buildings, and spare PPE, including our spare COVID kit here on the right. This is manned by a crew of 3, so when the alarm goes off here, the crew of 3 will be pre-assigned to this unit and they respond in this. So this is our cardiac arrest unit. Charlie Oscar 11 Lima 1 is what we know it as. It's an all-electric Renault Kangoo van. Range is about 65 kilometers. Our base here in the station means that we respond to any cardiac arrest within 8 kilometers of the station. So this covers us to respond to any arrest around the city on a single charge and get back safely. It carries all the equipment we need, plus a range of spares, to ensure that if we get a call while on returning from another call, that we can respond to that call then as well. So we've seen the cardiac unit. Now we'll have a look at Charlie Oscar 11 Alpha 1, which is our main pumping appliance here in Angus Street in Cork City. So in the back of the cab here we have our breathing apparatus. We have 4 BA sets here, which give you about 62 minutes of air. We wear these at all fires to make sure that we're not breathing in toxic fumes. These fumes can be very dangerous to people, and we have to wear the breathing apparatus to make sure we have a fresh air supply of air at all times. So this locker contains a lot of our smaller gear, axes, sledgehammers and forcible entry tools. We also have our fan here, which we can use to ventilate the premises. We have a portable pump so we can take water from a river. We also have console for gaining access, as well as assorted tools up on the top shelves. Locker 2, we have our 22mm hose reel, which we use for 90% of our fires. We also have our large diameter hose here. We have 5 70mm hose and 5 45mm hose, which we use for larger fires. Here in Locker 3 we have a lot of our fire extinguishers. We have our attachments for the hose. So these are the parts that go onto the end of the hose. We also have different connections here that attach onto the pump system. Up on the roof we have our 13.5 metre ladder, our 10.5 metre ladder and our roof ladder. And this is where the brains of the pump is. So this is where the driver will come when there's a fire to operate the pump. We have 3 deliveries here as well as 4 inlets, and these allow us to take water from a river or from a hydrant system. We've 1,800 litres of water in a tank carried on board, which gives us about 2 minutes of water with our largest diameter hose. In locker 4 we have our river rescue equipment here down at the bottom. Obviously being centrally based here in 9th Street, river rescue forms a big part of our job. We have our foam making equipment here in the middle shelves, as well as our standpipes so that we can take water from hydrants. Locker 5, we have another hose reel and hose, as well as our catastrophic hemorrhage kit, which we can use for major bleeding. Finally, we've locker 6, where we keep our road traffic collision gear. So we have cutters, spreaders and a ram on each of our frontline appliances. These are now battery operated, doing away with the hydraulic hoses that we used to have before. We also have sorted kits here for thermal image cameras and airbag systems for lifting up vehicles that have been involved in a collision. Every square inch of storage is used. We have storage under seats and also at the rear here of the front compartment. So that gives you an idea of what's contained on one of our fire engines here, or as we call them, a fire appliance. This is our muster area. This is where we all come when the bells go off. You have your own hook every day that your fire kit hangs up on. We also have our river rescue suits here at the ready so that we're able to respond. Our response time for an emergency is 1 minute, so that's the time from the bell ringing to the time that the truck leaves. So this is where we'll all gather. We'll find out what instant we're going to. We'll don our kit and we'll get on the appliance ready to go. We do have a fire pole. It's over here in the corner of the muster area. However, it's no longer in use. It was decided that it was just as quick to run down the stairs without the safety implications that go with it. We decided to keep it here for nostalgia, just so we can reminisce. We're very traditional in the fire service. So we mentioned the nostalgia of the pole. We're full of traditions here in Cork City. We were formed in 1877 as a result of a number of high-profile fires. At the time there was only insurance fire brigades, so if you were lucky enough to have your building insured, the insurance brigade would respond and put out the fire. However, if they found that it wasn't one of their buildings, they'd then leave it burn. So after that, the Cork Corporation got together to form a fire brigade. Started with a crew of 4 initially, based in Sullivan's Quay in a yard. Since then we've grown to 120 firefighters and around 30 officers. We respond to about 3,000 calls a year. And up until the early 80s we used to respond to ambulance calls before the creation of the Southern Health Board. So we had 3 ambulances here in Anglesey Street Station, and we used to respond to every medical emergency around the city and county. We began responding to cardiac arrests here in Cork City again in 2013 in conjunction with the National Ambulance Service. We respond to around 200 calls a year. Last year was 214. We do this from our cardiac unit with a 3-person team in conjunction with the ambulance service. We're in a great location here in the centre of the city. Our average response time is in and around 4 minutes from the time that we receive the call to the time we get hands on the patient. Not only will we get an ambulance going, we'll also get a fire crew here from the central fire station in Anglesey Street, and also we work very closely with the Cork City First Responder Group as well as the UCC First Responder Group. We meet them regularly at different incidents. We have a good working relationship with them, and we know exactly what we can do for the patient. The interagency work has really improved the outcome for the patient at the end of the day, which is why we're all doing this CFR. It's very important that teams are able to mix well and that you have a good understanding of the different personalities, the different skills that different groups have. The only thing that's going to happen here is that the patient is going to have an improved outcome at the end of the day. So we're alerted to a cardiac arrest here the same as any CFR group around the country. It's via text alert. We have 2 phones here in the station. One is retained by the duty officer who's in charge of mobilisation. The other is located on our cardiac arrest unit. Once the text comes in, it's also linked to our alerter system here in the station, so the bells will go off all over the station, the lights will come on, and the crew for the cardiac unit will be assigned at the start of the shift. So everyone knows who's on it, and the 3 people who are on it can assemble in the muster area and put on their PPE before they respond. The driver will usually put on his or her PPE once they arrive at the scene. The other 2 crew members will be fully gowned up when we arrive, ready to go. Like all CFR groups, information back to ambulance control is critical. So we also use the text back system that every CFR group in the country uses, which is 01 followed by a space followed by the last 3 digits of the incident number. Once you arrive at the scene, 04 is the text to send, and once you are clear, it's 19. If you get an ambulance control message to say stand down from the incident, it's important that you stand down and that you acknowledge that message back to control so that they know that you've been stood down. This is important for the safety of yourself and also your crew members that are responding with you. Our main goal when we finish at a cardiac arrest is to ensure our own safety and ensure that our PPE is disposed of carefully. To help with this, we've set up a decontamination tent at the rear of our station here in Anxley Street. When we come back from a positive case, we'll go into the decontamination tent and we have a change of clothes there ready to wear. So we wear a coverall suit, we wash our uniforms then at 60 degrees to make sure that they're washed and decontaminated. And then we'll also put on a fresh mask and gloves and sanitize our hands before and after. COVID-19 has obviously have a big impact on everyone's society. The fire service is no different. We've had to change our procedures, change our planning, and it means that everything has to be done very carefully. We have to be very cautious of COVID, in particular with our cardiac arrest calls. So usually we'd respond to calls in our work rig, in our uniform like I am here. Unfortunately now with the COVID we have to make sure that we gown up, make sure that our PPE is number one, because our own safety has to be our main priority. So our aprons have to go on, our gloves, our masks and our goggles have to be on for every call. This obviously has an impact on our response time. However, we're still out the door here within a minute of receiving a call for a cardiac arrest. This is obviously very important for all CFR groups to make sure that your PPE is working, that you have enough of it, and most importantly that you know how to put it on and that you know how to take it off afterwards in a safe way in order to protect yourself and your colleagues. You can see here then this is the high pressure stage. So this is where the high pressure water Cork City Fire Station. Big thanks to Kevin and the crew. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Enjoy the rest of your conference.